Welcome to Friday Focus, January 20th, 2017. The year's still going by quick already. It's the only beginning of the year. I was at the leadership meeting with some of the ladies from the different offices last week, and I was riding in the car with Crystal Miller and Angie Samuels, and we were talking about, moving forward and sort of, giving up your current job. Sometimes it's something you have to do. You got to give up your current job to grow into a new one. And sometimes it's hard for people to accept the fact that, we got to learn and grow all the time. If you get really good at your job, it's time for you to train somebody else to do it and figure out what else you can be good at. And Crystal was talking about going back to college. We've talked about it before, and she was wondering what she should study. And I talked to her about a process that's called visioning. And visioning, I've read about it for a while. I haven't been exactly good at doing it, but visioning is where you think about a time in the future and you describe it to yourself in terms of the present tense. Okay? I went to some lectures on it before. I know Zingerman's Bedeli, they've got even courses on it that we're going to send some people to. I've read some books on it, but visioning is where you put yourself forward and you decide what it looks like, what you think it'll look like. And you might change your vision from time to time, but you shouldn't change it much. And then you figure out how you're going to build out a system where that vision can occur. I was meeting with some planning attorneys where we were talking about how to restructure the business so I can achieve my vision in the future and to make it clear kind of what that vision looked like. And they were maybe suggesting some other things that I wasn't interested in. But I knew it because I had already visioned it. And what Crystal decided is that she maybe wanted to be doing something different. So she talked about what it would look like in 5 years, what it looks like on that day. Maybe you can describe what the weather's like, what your typical day looks like. And you can write it down. In this case, I'm documenting it on YouTube. And then you can start looking at it and thinking about how are the things you're doing moving you closer to that vision or moving you away from it. Certain things, decisions I make, I have to make them fairly rapidly, and they might involve a lot of money or a lot of manpower issues. And if it meets my vision, I want to move it forward. So my vision, I'll just kind of describe it for you. It's about 10 years out. It's a day like today, like in January, and it's sunny out instead of raining like it is today. This is 10 years from now. And I'm in an autonomous van. So the van's driving on its own. And instead of sitting there looking down at the book, I got my desk. So I'm sitting in the back of the van, and the van's driving itself. That technology's coming. And Maria's not driving me. She's kind of sitting next to me. She's got her own desk. So the car's driving itself. Maybe that's one of the reasons I picked 10 years out, because I don't think that'll happen in 5 years. And I'm visiting the offices. And what I'm seeing is that at each office, we've got a bunch of them now, the offices are kind of like Starbucks in the sense that no matter which office I stop by, even though the local culture and customs might be different, the experience is the same. There's the same level of engagement. The patients get the same experience at each place. They get the same offers. They get the same quality each location, no matter where it's at. They're all kind of the same. And I walk into one of the locations that we don't have 10 years ago, and I see an engaged workforce of women and men that know what their metrics are. They've had their huddle that day. They just completed their meeting, and they came up with some new initiatives they're going to do to make the patient experience better. I'm seeing that the employees have their best earnings ever. They're the most engaged, and they're really aware of our process. And I'm doing things that are different myself. 10 years ago, I was, seeing patients and running the business. And now I'm doing some other things. In fact, what I want to do this year, 10 years from now, is I'm not really treating any paying customers, but I'm dealing with problems that can't be solved. That's what I really love to do, is solving problems that can't be solved. So I can devote all my energy to it. But in the background, in the past 10 years, I developed an outstanding leadership team that's made up of everybody that can run the business. They don't even need me anymore. I always think about when I'm going forward, even from now, 10 years from today, is how do I bus-proof the office? In other words, if I get hit by a bus, there's still jobs. We can still operate. And to do that, I've got to make plans, and I got to continue to make plans. And 10 years from now, we're talking about in the current tense, I can see that that's already happened. The offices are run by local PAs running their own business. The staff is running their part of the business, and they're very engaged. I see that the office is more profitable than it ever has been. And it's wildly profitable. What's beautiful about that, at this point, the employees own the company. Okay? I still have ownership, but the employees own the company. And they're engaged to make money and to make it so that not for the purposes of greed, but in order to continue to add jobs to our community and add services to our patients. We got to do this in perpetual. And then this day, 10 years from now, I can see that's happened. The company is a totally different structure than it was 10 years ago. Employee owned, real consistent, almost like franchise-like, even though we're not franchises. All the offices have the same experience. The culture is fairly consistent. There's obviously differences from office to offices, but they're generally the same. The staff's more engaged than they ever have been, and they are where they need to be. I've written a few more books. I'm doing some speeches to doctors because one of my goals has always been to impact as many people as possible. And one way to impact people is to teach other people. Our office, at this point 10 years from now, has been so successful that doctors from all over the country, come to us to train. They bring our staff to train here. And we train them how we run our best practices. And then we can not only impact the lives of our own families in Allure, but we can extend out across the globe and impact other people. And that's a vision. And I write it down. And I might change it, make minor modifications, but it lets me know what I need to go to get there. One thing is we have to have profit. Because without profit, we don't have any gas to fuel expansion. So I realized if we got to have profit, and I've got to communicate this to almost 200 people, we've got to have open book accounting. So now this year, I'm going to train you how to read our spreadsheets, how to read our balance sheet, so that you know how much things cost, not just how much money we're bringing in, but what our costs are, so that you can control them and you be responsible. So that you can look at your own office and realize if you're profitable or not. I want you to be able to understand that, and this is something that you'll be learning now. I've had to take myself out of production in 2016 in order to figure out how to maybe learn how to run the business better. Give me a chance to write some books, give me a chance to read books on running a business. We've been training doctors in 2015 and 2016 for years so we can understand how to train doctors better. So we can achieve that vision 10 years from now that we can impact other people outside of our area. Okay, so for maximal impact, we only have a limited ability of how much we can impact. I wouldn't say limited ability. Human capacity is almost limitless, but it's through extension. And one thing I've learned is in order to increase impact, I've got to multiply myself. So I've got to spend time training others to do my own job. It's like sometimes in order to be maximum impact, you got to make yourself almost like not an entity, not needed. And it's hard to accept that, but in reality, they don't need me in surgery anymore. Okay? Maybe sometimes I'm stepping in to try out some new things. They're running just fine without me. I got to do in the vein production. They don't need me. So if my job becomes less necessary for me to do it, then I get to do something else. Okay? So when you're creating your own vision, think about where you're at in 5 or 10 years. I think 5 years is a good vision plan. 10 years I did it for me because I wanted to have the autonomous car. And I could see 10 years out being still in the same situation. And when you create your vision, write it down. And you might make some changes. You don't have to stick to it to 100%, but at least it gives you a basis to know where you're going. You know, imagine getting out in the ocean on a boat and just paddling without knowing where you're going. You'll never get there. So that's the Friday Focus. Thank you very much.